Hey everybody, welcome to the 100th episode of the Weekly Comic Pull. We here at the Cosmic Panel just want to say thanks. If you've been watching us for this long, that's pretty cool. But also, you're weird. Little weirdo, little freak, little creep guy. What are you doing? Stop it. Just kidding. Thanks for supporting us, and
Our
we got
weird
lots of
antics.
exciting content coming to you very soon. More gaming videos, more peculiar pulls, lots and lots of good stuff for real this time.
Yeah, we're gonna be kicking it up a notch, and I'm excited to see what we're gonna do. Expect a lot more Fortnite videos. That's what I'll say.
The Lord's greatest game.
Anyway, thank you guys. Remember to comment down below what books you're pulling this week. Subscribe, and yeah, let's get right into it. Elias, what's your first pull?
My first pull for this week is going to be Universal Monsters Frankenstein number 2. This was a change of pace for the Universal Monsters comic format. I did enjoy it. I thought the art was really cool, really fitting. And if you guys are familiar with the original Frankenstein tale, you'll notice that this has a little bit of a twist on it. Basically, there's a child that we're following. We're kind of looking through his lens here. And he's lost his father. And Dr. Frankenstein digs up his father, ends up using his hands, comments on his hands. And it's very tragic um, backstory for part of Frankenstein's monster. I thought it was a cool addition to the lore. It makes sense, build more connection between the reader and the bodies that Dr. Frankenstein is, digging up. So I
Yeah,
thought that was interesting. It was definitely a bit of a crash course through the first film, basically, almost. Um, so that was interesting. And I think that this will allow them to spend the rest of the series building out and going their own direction. This sort of catches you up quickly if you're unfamiliar with the Frankenstein lore of this guy's making a monster. Here it is. The monster's ready to go. Now we're going to follow, again, the more unique element, which is this child. So I thought it was pretty cool. Fun first issue, and I'm definitely excited to see where this is going to go.
yeah. Each series so far has been really stylized. Well, I wasn't a huge as big of a fan of Creature of the Black Lagoon as I was of Dracula. This was a lot more my pace, to be honest. Um,
Yeah.
really love the art. The art is really good.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, it's kind of wild that I never thought of like, yeah, he's using body parts of different people. No one ever like really brings up or recognizes those body parts ever. So it's interesting that this is like the first time I remember, at least, them doing that in a story where it's like, oh, this person has the face of blank, or this person has this, and then like I recognize that.
Yeah, it's a very simple but effective um, device that they're going to use in this mini series. So I'm more of a fan of like the comic book adaptation format, like we had in Dracula, with just a little bit of a twist versus the kind of sequel thing that Lagoon was doing.
Yeah,
But either way, yeah, I'm excited to read this second issue and more beautiful covers. The covers are definitely stand out, and I think really can get you into the series if you're interested. But yeah, the second issue is going to deal more with Fritz. At the end of the last issue, we saw Fritz grab the child before he was going to stab Dr. Frankenstein, which was a surprising development, I thought. And yeah,
yeah,
Fritz is a little more intelligible in this iteration.
a little bit.
um, so that'll be good.
I think you mean a lot.
Well, people confuse Fritz and Igor a lot. This was the first assistant, and then Igor was like, I think, thrown in on like a second or third movie or something.
Yeah, true.
So yeah, pretty cool. Lucas, what's your first pick for this week?
My first pick for this week is Old Dog Operations #1. We're getting a continuation of Old Dog, but it's going to be basically short stories, short missions with a bunch of different creators. So I'm actually really excited. We got Charles Soule, we got P.G. Holden, we got Declan Shalvey, of course, who is the creator of the series. We got Rory McConville, we got John McCree, Mateus Bigara, Leonardo Romero. Like, we got plenty of people. I'm actually really excited to see where this is going to go. And I'm wondering how this is going to lead into the continuation of the series, where we last left off. Uh, the duo, the father and daughter duo, basically fought against the organization that they were working against. They realized that our main character is a weird alien creature that thinks that it's him. It's weird. It's very much like a almost like a prototype esque situation where it's like where does Jack Lynch start and where does the creature that thinks it's Jack Lynch is, you know what I mean? Um,
And yeah,
yeah, exactly. So I'm really excited to see what's going to happen. But yeah, they're facing off against the people, that organization that they've been working for the past couple issues, and his daughter finally turned against them, and now now we're gonna hit the ground running to see what's up.
cool. I'm glad they can build out, and that a lot of creators were obviously enjoying this series themselves to be hopping in on here. So yeah, this is going to be a cool celebration issue.
Oh wait, also I completely forgot. They hinted at like a multiverse story. Like it's weird. Like the machine didn't just bring him over to like the machine brought him over to a different dimension where he had the career he wanted and like an actual child. Like he originally didn't have one. That was also like a major thing. Was like he never had a kid originally. So like it's weird. It's very very strange. There's a lot of questions basically that we need to answer. What's next up for you, Elias?
Next up for me is going to be Namor #3. The second issue did what I wanted, which was bring in some classic Namor characters. We had Atuma, and Namor challenged him to a duel, and they fought it out.
Well, they drank
And
first.
Namor had a stronger liver than Atuma did. But yeah, this was fun. I think the artist is continuing to show that they know these characters well, and they are fit for this universe. We got a flashback story to go alongside our present day story, which I thought was done pretty well. It was a little on the nose that she then showed up older right at the end of the issue, but nonetheless, I think this is a fun universe that they're building out. Um, when you do any sort of retcons or flashback stories, I think it's important to have them not be too revelatory, but just important enough that you're knowing why we're flashing back to it, if that makes sense. So something like meeting an old friend again in the present day is not super out of the ordinary or out of line with Namor's character, because basically it causes us distrust for him, shows why he doesn't want to seek out a lover, that kind of thing. So I thought it was an
Except Sue
effective
Storm.
I thought it was an effective flashback story that didn't change too much, but recontextualized some things and just added a little bit of extra depth to his character. So yeah, this has been a fun series so far. Obviously, there's 7 lords, 7 kings, and each issue is gonna, I'm sure, tackle each one of those. So it's a fun format. You can tell Jason has a very succinct plan here, and I'm excited to see him execute it.
Yeah, I actually really liked Kehlani. Kehlani. Um, she was interesting. I like the idea of like having someone that like was also half human, but shows like the downsides of it in a like a
Mm-hmm.
genuine way. Like if you weren't a king, it's very like it's a very interesting idea, and then to have him attracted to her is also very interesting. And I almost think that this series is going to end with her probably leading, if anything,
Mm,
because I mean, to be honest, she seems way more qualified than he does, even from the get go.
right. Yeah,
So I'm
Kailani. I
Kylon.
always am tempted to say Kalani because that's a singer that I
Yeah,
listen to. But yeah, Kailani. Yeah, I think it was like interesting also that she's also a you know, one of the parents is a land dweller, one of the parents is a sea dweller. Thought that was interesting that there were more. I mean, it makes sense that there would be more
Oh
people
yeah,
like that. We just have never really talked about it before. So I thought that was cool. And yeah, she's like, obviously much more down to earth than Namor is. So yeah.
yeah. I'm very excited to see what's going to happen.
Yeah. All right, Lucas, what is next for you?
Next up for me is Nice House by the Sea. Um, we got an issue to catch up with the group way earlier than I thought. Um, First issue ended with the group from the first book appearing in the second group's basically arena slash area. And I was expecting that we were going to cut back right to that moment. Instead, we flash back to how that group actually got here, which was really really interesting. Um, we had basically a catch up with all the characters that we really fell in love in the first book, and basically it's been a while for them. It's been like a close to there was like something like 3,000 days. Obviously, they don't age, so for them it felt like no time was well, not that no time was passing, but it didn't show. But we got to see a lot of the characters basically dealing with still the aftermath of the first book, dealing with Walter's death, the death of other characters, and still trying to find a purpose. Especially Ryan, who technically is a mistake in the system because she is the second artist, and there's only supposed to be one of each. So for her, she feels very lost. She's wondering why did Walter choose her when he already had someone lined up, and all these different things. Um, and then we had this really cool thing where someone ordered a puppy through the alien Amazon equivalent, um, and obviously a lot of people were like, "Well, I don't trust this. This is an alien created puppy." And very very valid. We had the puppy walking around, and then it got revealed that the puppy was Walter. So uh, I called it when I first saw it too. I was like, that's Walter. There's no shot that isn't Walter because Walter is having enough difficulty as it is not faking his own death and then pretending to like see from afar. It's like nah, he would take that like at any chance, even just to like hang out with the group. Um, but yeah, and then a lightning strike happens, and then they're in the other arena. Like it's just as unexplained for them as it is for us. So now we're going actually back to the second place. We apparently someone actually did cause that on their side, and someone didn't follow the rules. And this version of basically Walter Max um, is a lot more strict about the rules, obviously, but also they gave a lot more leeway to the people that are in the environment. So they handed off the controls to them basically. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens.
Very cool. I'm glad that this is progressing nicely.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's sick. What's next up for you, Elias?
Next up for me is going to be Uncanny X-Men number 3. Uh, as was expected, this is a really stellar creative team. Marquez is just showing his colors, showing his skill set here really, really well. Each character is just so well polished, and especially I'm enjoying the designs of these new mutants that we're running into here. Lots of interesting new power sets that we're getting to see displayed on the page that I'm really enjoying. We had a bit of a kerfuffle between Wolverine, Rogue, Gambit, and these new mutants that we're facing. I believe they're called the Outliers, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So they were, had a little combat to kind of show off their powers,
I
but
liked it.
now they're going to help them. And Rogue wants to enlist Nightcrawler to help these people out because Cyclops basically doesn't want to lead the mission to break Xavier out of his containment, and it seems that Rogue does. So this has been very cool so far. I think this is a very fun. It feels classic, yet bringing in new elements like Eye of Agamotto and these new mutants. So I think it definitely has some strong foundation to go off of, and I'm excited to keep reading.
Yeah, it's interesting to see Cyclops basically like trying to convince Rogue to not go after. Um, but if you're reading the actual X-Men book, you would understand why. But Uncanny has been so good. I've really been enjoying it. The art, like Elijah said, phenomenal. I was actually I kept on laughing because one of the characters said you're gonna need more cards that you need to go home and get the rest of your deck, and that to me was just such a beautiful roast for Gambit. uh, but yeah, no, all the characters are really sick. I really like them. They were really interesting. All their powers that they displayed were really cool. I really liked Jitter. Jitter's ability was really interesting. The like all the time that she basically accumulates in between being like given at once is really cool. And then Death Dream, Ransom. Uh, yeah, I'm really excited. Also, the one girl with the horse. She said she wasn't a mutant. Does that mean the horse is the mutant? Is that
That's what
what
I
they're
was
trying?
assuming. Yeah,
Okay, that's what I kind of thought, but I was like, either she's saying that or she's a magic user. I was like one or the other, but
yeah. I think that's what they're hinting at. She could have just said that outright, but she didn't.
yeah,
But yeah, there's some more to her. I think she is kind of the least trustworthy out of the batch, honestly.
yeah, that's valid.
Um, but what's it called? Yeah, Gambit had a really interesting issue. I didn't expect him to just be using the Eye of Agamotto like right off the bat like that. I thought he was just going to kind of store it, hold on to it for safekeeping, but he was just like automatically using it. And it's going to take him a while to master. Obviously, this is a really powerful object that he's not having an easy time with. So I'm excited to see more of that. That's just a super cool visual of just him having the card in one hand and the eye in the other. Super interesting. So yeah, I'm excited to see what's going to go on with that throughout the series.
Yeah, I also wonder how Kurt is doing. It's been a while since we checked in on him.
Yeah, and it's cool that they're kind of giving reasons to have this lineup. You know, it does feel very kind of classic, like kind of comfort X Men team, but you know, Rogue is kind of giving us reasons as to why we need each of these characters, and yeah, it's a fun lineup, fun chemistry for sure. So
Was that Nature Girl at the end, by the way, or no?
I think it was. Well, I know it wasn't because
Oh,
apparently she was killed in the Air of Apocalypse mini.
oh,
Um,
damn.
yeah, it's was stupid, but apparently that's just a random mutant that this creature is chasing. What do they call her?
Oh, man, I don't even
Not
know.
Baba Yaga, but some
Something along those lines.
yeah, some like folktale esque monster name. But yeah, there's some creature basically just hunting down random mutants. So that was the mutant that they showed in the first issue that was getting hunted
Yeah,
down by this creature. So, and this creature is delivering them to the old mansion, which is interesting. So yeah, I'm curious to find out more about that and why this woman in charge is so angry at mutants and why she's has a relationship with this monster.
yeah, it should be interesting, regardless.
Yeah. All right, Lucas. That brings us to your next pick.
Yeah, next pick is Absolute Power Task Force 7, number 7, last issue. Um, and this event has been really sick. I've really been enjoying this event. That every tie-in has felt for me personally like a great like continuation of their own regular series, tying into the event naturally. And the overall story has been awesome. Um, but I'm really excited to see where this is going to go because we're now dealing with the heroes that are not American. We're dealing with heroes and villains that are outside the country that basically that Amanda Waller technically doesn't have control over, like legally. Even if she did have control of the American heroes, legally she wouldn't have control of any of these. But I like that they were introducing more heroes in the Absolute Power main series too. Hints at that. But I'm really excited to see Colin Kennan back at it again. Superman of China. It has been a minute since we've seen him. He disappeared after Action Comics ended with Philip Kennedy Johnson, and I mean I love his character. He's so fun. His powers are really unique, and I'm hoping this leads into seeing more of the Justice League of China. Um, but yeah, no, This is a blast.
I thought that was Buana Beast, but apparently it's Freedom Beast.
Yeah, yeah.
That is his kid or something.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's funny. Yeah, this is a cool batch of heroes to check in on.
Ghostmaker,
Ghostmaker is really
Mirror
cool.
Master.
So yeah, I'm curious to see what's going on outside of the U.S. during this event.
Yeah, and this is the last tie-in before we basically just deal with our. We have the Green Arrow tie-in, and then it goes directly into the last issue. So um, we are fully in it. We're in
Yeah,
it to win it now. This is the last leg of the journey.
this has to direct us back towards the main story.
Yeah, exactly. What's next up for you, Elias?
Next up for me is going to be Ultimate Spider-Man number 9. This I can't believe we're 9 issues into Ultimate Spider-Man already. It
It's
feels pretty
crazy.
nuts. And to already be at the Sinister Six is also really crazy. We have a brand new team here of the Sinister Six. We got Mysterio. We got Craven, which are our 2 classic members. But I love the Mysterio look, by the way. Really cool. Then
Yeah,
we got Mole Man. We got Black Cat. That is actually Walter Hardy, not Felicia that we're used to. And then we got Mr. Negative. So, really interesting lineup here. I'm very curious to see how they're going to work together. But for now, it looks like we're getting one member at a time thrown at Peter, which is kind of, a cool classic way to build up the conflict gradually. So I'm excited to see who this first character is that they're going to throw at Peter. And I'm excited to see how Harry continues to involve himself. Basically, Tony said that he was nowhere on the list. He wasn't on the radar at all. He's a self-made man, which is a little more respectable, but also that Harry has a lot of pent-up anger and aggression, and we also see that through the voice in his suit being his father. So his arc is definitely interesting,
that couldn't possibly go wrong.
and we're gonna see kind of how he is dealing with these emotions while he tries to help Peter out, and at what point will he become at what point does he fall over the line into a bad guy? So I'm excited to see that arc. But yeah, this is a really cool issue, really sick cover. I'm excited to have my collection.
Yeah, I mean, I God, the last issue was so fun for me. I love like just like good character dialogue, and last issue for me was like such a great time for that. Like, I mean, between Jay Jonah, Uncle Ben, Peter, Peter talking to the suit was fucking creepy. That little smile he gave at the end. Ugh. But I love the setup for like a Venom basically with the Pico suit. Like that's a subversion I genuinely wasn't expecting. Um, and I will say I love the Sinister Six. I love how they were like, there is one more burrow and it's underground. It was just Mole Man. Um, but I like that Kingpin has is basically his like captains. Um,
Not
but
short Mole Man, which was
yeah,
really
also something
weird
I
to
wanted to
see.
bring up, which I thought was really interesting. So there's two theories for what I have for this. Mysterio was shorter, and then like, and then who was it? Black Cat mentioned it, and then they like grew an extra inch. Did you notice that in the paneling?
Yeah, I did.
So I have a theory. Either that was a body double for Quentin, like just so that like in the meeting, so that he couldn't be killed off or something in case something went south, or, and this is something that one of my friends said, maybe that's Gwen because they have the same color scheme as like classic Gwen, like the green shirt, pink skirt, purple skirt, and it would explain why Kingpin sold the stuff to Harry in the first place, even though he knew that there was stuff in there that would have been useful and valuable. Just a theory, but I think that's an interesting one where it's like if Gwen turned out to be a Mysterio character, that would explain why Kingpin seems so lax about giving Harry like all of Stark International.
Hmm.
Because he was very casual about that. I will reiterate that he kind of just handed that to Harry. and I was like kind of surprised by that.
I mean, I just kind of saw it as like a shut the kid up kind of thing. Like
Yeah,
this will shut that kid up, like that kind of thing. Just like he won't bug me if I just hand him this over. That was the
yeah,
vibe I got. But because Kingpin knows how to kind of leverage his power in very subtle ways, so that was kind of the vibe I got. Interesting. I don't see them going that direction, but um, I think that was just sort of the height thing. I think was just an indicator of Mysterio being able to change his appearance and having just kind of this like incredible control over optics, visuals,
yeah.
illusions. That was the vibe
That's
I
fair.
got. But that is interesting. That is an interesting theory.
Because I wasn't so when I heard the Gwen Stacy thing, I wasn't sold on it. But then I saw like my friend showed a picture like her classic look, and I was like, and then someone showed the picture of the Mysterio like with like the character sheet version, and it's like the same exact like colors that they
Well,
used
but that
for
was in the classic,
yeah yeah
classic
exactly.
in the '60s too.
So
That was just. It's just funny to me because that was such a common color scheme in those days, just because of comic like coloring purposes, like just because those colors popped more. Like green and purple, Mysterio, Hulk, Green Goblin, like Beetle, like all these characters, just because it looked
yeah,
better on the page. So that part of the argument I just think is funny, but I do think it would be interesting if they did that.
but yeah, very excited to see what's gonna happen.
Yeah. All right, Lucas, that brings us to your next pick. Go ahead.
Helena Windhorn, number 5. This is the penultimate issue, and last issue we had Helen finally really like earn her place next to Barnabas. She trained for over a year, learned how to use axes, learned how to fight. Uh, Beautiful art throughout the entire issue. We basically had her come to blows with different creatures and all this different stuff. And then she got injured, and Barnabas said, "Enough is enough. You're not coming back. You failed. You're not allowed to." And Helen obviously took that very, very poorly because it's completely unfair. And she wanted to go back into the world. And Barnabas had the gall to say, "You're weak just like your father." And flashback to the first issue, Barnabas' son, Helen's father, hanged himself. So immediately Helen took that pretty poorly. Not a great way to start that conversation. But yeah, no, I'm very interested to see what's going to happen now because, from what I understand, Helen isn't allowed back into the fantasy world, and she's told to just do her studies and then leave and find a husband. That is the direct quote. So uh, it'll be interesting.
I didn't realize this was only 6 issues. It's ending after the next one.
Yeah, it's ending after the next one.
Yeah,
Short but sweet, honestly. And every
cool.
every end of the issue, we've gotten flashbacks to like people finding the tapes of like the audio recordings of these adventures, and people like out like the most recent one. Now they're in the dollar bins of like a comic book shop. It was like funny. The first ones they were like auctioned for like $1 million, and then now they're in the dollar bins of like a comic book shop, and it's just funny to see the progression of like it just moving around to different people and no one like really like being like, huh, this is that great, this is insane, and people just being like, oh, this is a fun little short story.
Yeah, that's very cool. And I'm glad that Tom doesn't feel obligated to do another 12-issue series.
Yeah, no,
you know, um, I'm glad that he's doing a shorter one for once.
for once. Anyway, Elias, what's your top pick for this week?
My top pick will be none other than Knights number 11. If you can believe it, guys, we like this comic book called Knights here on the Cosmic Panel.
Who would have guessed?
Um, like we always say, this is a golden age for indie books. Please check out some of these series. Knights is approachable for a lot of audiences because of its wide range of homages and references, but it is grounded in, I would say the supernatural, the horror, the thriller. So issue 10 was amazing. We got backstory on Matt. and how he came to die, and it wasn't as complicated as
Yeah.
we thought. It was pretty quick, pretty insignificant to the rest of his story. It was just more tragic when you kind of got the context of the relationship he was in and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, beautiful issue, beautiful art, really heartfelt issue. I really loved it, and I'm excited for this next one because we're getting some guest artists and writers, which is really fun. It's cool to see that other people are enjoying this book on the creative side. So we got what they're calling an anthology style issue with a bunch of different short stories exploring a bunch of different characters that we love. So really excited to get into this issue. Issue 10 was perfect. I can't imagine that issue 11 will let me down.
Yeah. Um, it's going to be really exciting. This series has been amazing. Last issue was really great. Because yeah, we got an explanation on more of the ghost stuff and more of the Reaper slash stuff. I love when him going to heaven and it just being like no reason, like on the clipboard. But also, I don't know why it never clicked in my head, but yeah, that's their actual skeletons. So like, their skin has to rot off, which is fucked. That's
Yeah.
so fucked. Um, but I love how he had his girlfriend and the other partner in the series. Um, both they didn't abandon him. Like he left of his own accord. Like
Mm-hmm.
I kind of love that it wasn't a thing of they saw him, he died, and then they immediately were like, no, we can't talk to you anymore. Like it hurts. It was like, no, like we want you to live with us still, but for him it was too much.
Yeah.
Um, also love the story, the arc with the little kid. That was really cool.
Yeah,
And
we
I
learned about
love,
Poltergeist, which was really neat.
yeah, that was really interesting. Which could be like a power up for him later down the line or something if we need that. Um, which is good setup. And then also the whole the ending where they're coming back and Gray and and they're just sitting with a bunch of dirt and they're like, man, that mission could have been a whole issue.
Yeah, that was funny.
That was funny to me. That was like such a great little like joke.
Yeah,
Uh,
classic thing to say at the end of an issue where you follow one of the side characters.
but yeah, no, it was really fun.
They just did that in Smiling Friends. That's what I was thinking of. On in the Alan
Oh
the
yeah, where he
Alan
was like, that could have
episode,
been a
right?
whole up.
And Alan and Charlie were like, that was our greatest adventure ever. Like,
Yeah. After the the paper clips
yeah,
episode,
he's
which
like,
I still love that episode. That episode's
oh,
might be
it's
my
amazing.
favorite.
Yeah. But yeah, super fun. And yeah, I thought it was gonna be like tragic, like they didn't want to be around Matt anymore, but she just showed up to his door and was like, checking in on him, which was really sweet. But yeah, I'm excited for Matt to hopefully go work for, what was that, Konami, right? Is that what they were saying? Game
Something
developer.
along those lines.
So that's really cool. Yeah, and it's cool to see these characters progressing and not being, restrained to this group, which I think is important for their development. Hopefully Vince will go to NYU. Hopefully Matt will move to Japan, stuff like that. So it's exciting, and I'm excited that this book is continuing so strongly.
Yeah. The only thing is, when is uh, when is the reveal of the were dog gonna happen? That's really the question. Because can't keep delaying that. It's gonna happen at some point.
But
So Ivory having to reveal that he's like possessed by the dog.
they know.
No, Matt doesn't. Matt doesn't.
Matt stopped him from taking the collar off.
No, but Matt didn't know what he was doing. He says that later. Like Matt doesn't know still.
I thought that's why he stopped him from taking the collar off, though.
No, he just didn't want him to risk his life. Period.
Huh.
That was like what he says after.
Okay.
Yeah. So he still doesn't know, which is crazy. That would have been the moment to reveal, but like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Ivory didn't get a chance because Matt stopped him.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to see when that's going to happen because I don't think Matt is going to take that well, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but 10 was very kind of heartfelt, emotional, but not like overbearingly so. But very impactful, and I like the giving the poltergeist his ending by handing him his Game Boy back. Letting him finish the level. That was really cool, and Matt finding forgiveness basically for the wolf that killed him, and yeah, it really wrapped up a couple things really quickly and gave us more answers. So yeah, for me it was a pretty perfect issue.
Yeah.
All right, Lucas, that brings us to your top pick of this week. Go ahead.
Yeah, my top pick of this week is Atana Bring Down the House. Last issue was so fun. I really enjoyed it. We got a lot more magical court stuff. But the thing that I really love is John Constantine being in the story. I love Zatanna and John Constantine being together. Constantine, yes. I love them being together. They're always so fun together, and I really can't wait to see what's going to happen. But yeah, the story's been great. I've really been loving the amount of lore that we've been getting. The Tano's really showing that she has a lot of untapped potential, but I like that we're getting it in bits and pieces, and not having it given to us all at once. Um, but yeah, the art has been fantastic. This is the second to last issue, so they got to set up some more stuff before we get to the finale. But I'm excited.
Yeah, this book I would recommend to you 100 times just for the art alone. Javier Rodriguez is just absolutely killing it on this book. I'm happy that we have him on this DC title as his first DC title after doing, Defenders and more kind of cosmic stuff. This series just really lends itself to his style super well. This is a really fun creative team. And yeah, I'm curious to find out who this rabbit character is, like where their power is drawn from. They seem to be
Obviously, the
very
rabbit dimension.
interesting. And I love how all of Zatanna's rabbits are kind of transfixed on the character in the apartment scene. That was really fun. And yeah, beautiful stuff. What's a Zatanna story without a little bit of help from her friends? So I'm excited to get into this next issue for sure.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
All right, guys. Well, that has been our 100th episode of the Weekly Comic Pull. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. It means the world. Don't forget to like, subscribe, all that stuff we said at the beginning. Appreciate you guys, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye bye.
100 episodes, man, of Weekly Pulls. That's nuts. But it's pretty exciting.
It's
101,
wild.
do we have any big plans, any special stuff that we want to do? I mean, it's a pretty big
I was
episode.
thinking maybe wait. What is that noise? No. We're in the cosmic panel now.